Right, a warm welcome to you from Geneva, Switzerland. This is a private meeting. We've invited two groups. First are, and I see we'll have to, first are scholar alumni who work in the national EPI teams or in their country's EPI team. And then second, movement leaders who've earned at least one certification in the first full learning cycle. So that was from 7th of March until 17th of June. So oh, and I just realized I'm not sharing yet my screen. Yeah, so these are the two groups who were invited. We've got a couple of people from our team and from our partner, Bridges to Development. So that's Ian Jones, Alan Brooks, maybe Ian Steed as well, who are here also with us, listening in and learning with us. Now, you know about, of course, the full learning cycle process and outputs across these 5 stages that we went through in a very short time from 7th of March until 17th of June. And so we wish to honor the commitment that those of you we invited displayed during those months, producing a remarkable amount of just new knowledge grounded in your expertise and experience. In many cases, things that one cannot possibly know unless one is there every day. So just a reminder of our dialogue with National EPI Alumni starting on the 21st of February. So that was just before kicking off the 7th of March movement. This was followed by, on the 20th of October, a meeting with a follow-up meeting with essentially the same group, but actually more people than the first one, who were concerned over challenges about the VUNIC backsliding. So that's the data, that's the acronym for the data published by UNICEF and WHO, and opportunities to build back better. And today is really a kind of consultative engagement, for lack of a better word, before launching the second phase of the movement in 2023. It's also the last occasion we'll have this year to actually connect with each other in this kind of setting. Now, on the 20th of October, we shared some of the initial lessons learned from the first full learning cycle. So this was with national EPI staff who are alumni of TGLF's immunization program. And then we discussed the challenges and also the opportunities for EPI teams to basically use the movement as a resource to accelerate efforts and then continue the dialogue for partnership. So today that brings us to this meeting, and here we have 4 items on the agenda. First is the national EPI engagement. So that's a continuing strand of and an important strand of work. Many, of course, we're addressing alumni. Many are already engaged in the movement, but some are not. And it's still important to that they be part of this discussion. The second is your feedback on the IA2030 Knowledge to Action Hub. We presented the concept in October at Teach to Reach, but also at the private meeting with National EPI staff. So third is the invitation to become an IA2030 Movement contributor. And then fourth will be the feedback on the phase 2 launch preparation. So asking for your feedback and really consulting you to get really to make sure as we move towards the launch that we're really on target. Now, so the goal is really a consultative one. National EPI staff who are alumni, and then those we call movement leaders that we wanted to honor also through this invitation. So any questions or comments about this agenda, knowing that we will close at the 45-minute mark. And as explained in the emails, we were wary of potential confusion. This is a private meeting, invitation only. At the top of the next hour, so at 3 p.m. Geneva, we'll be opening up a live stream that will go out on all social media to discuss what we are learning from Teach to Reach 7. All right, I just see greetings in the chat, so I will proceed with the first point, and this is really about national EPI engagement. So first of all, we're interested in strengthening the coordination and really the dialogue and engagement and collaboration with national EPI, and we have 3 months, or actually 2 months, to do that, because we'll be launching phase 2 on the 3rd of March 2022 at Teach to Reach 8. So there are what that looks like will be in fact strengthening partnerships with national EPI, but also CSOs, so civil society organizations. And we will be announcing and inviting those of you who've said in the past that you're involved with CSOs to a private meeting, again, with a goal of really getting to know each other and understanding what your needs are. Second, as you know, we crossed the mark of 10,000 movement members in September. And so far, only 1,024 have actually gone through the process of identifying a challenge, looking for its root cause, finding 3 corrective actions. And so we'll be, so that's January 2023. And then we'll be looking to further build and strengthen the alumni network. So both the alumni country teams and other ways in which alumni are interested in connecting to each other. Now, we are, what we shared with national EPI colleagues is that we are seeking to identify probably around 5 countries to collaborate with in partnership in the context of the work that we are developing with UNICEF and Gavi. So if you're not national EPI, it's still important that you understand this is going on and may lead to a renewed focus on your specific country if the national EPI team responds and is interested. So building on what you told us at the 20th of October meeting, so this is what national EPI told us of the top 3 priorities: coverage targets, responding to outbreaks, data quality, data stipends, integration challenge, HRH, and then strengthening the so-called lower levels of the system to reach zero-dose children. In terms of the support that you told us you need, there's funding, coordination, technical support. And then in terms of the best approach, national EPI staff told us there should be continuous contact communication. There's a concern that lower level staff would be acting in line with national directives, not in a silo, aligned with the WHO country office, and also pointed to the risk of turnover, so the need for a sustainable approach, not overly dependent on individuals. Now, the next steps that we're announcing today are the following. So this is only for national EPI staff. If you don't work in the national team, you may be able to support, the person from the national EPI may reach out to you, and we encourage that if it's actually helpful. But what we will do is after this meeting, or either later today or probably Monday, you'll receive the request to confirm your willingness to engage your national EPI director. Now, we'll be focusing on how to coordinate that and make it an effective effort so it leads to a result. We don't want scholars from all over the place jumping in and trying to contact the national EPI director. But you'll then receive, once you're confirmed, then you'll receive a letter of mission confirming that, yes, you are legitimately acting to take this forward, and spelling out the scope of what you will be doing. And then really step 3 is in your hands to secure a letter confirming the interest and recognition by EPI. And I think we have at least one example I'll share with you is Cameroon was the first country to actually do this. And the way let me just pull out what they actually said. And so they said scholar courses are the best professional development opportunity for Cameroonian health workers working in the field of immunization. So this is the national EPI director at the time writing to us. These courses have been referenced by the Ministry of Public Health as the ideal framework for capacity building of EPI actors. In the context marked by the shortage of resources dedicated to training of actors in the immunization system, we've opted for TGLF solution since the presentation that was made at the global meeting on immunization. We give priority to stakeholders for whom participation would be of significant benefit to our national immunization program. So that's an example of the kind of letter that will enable us to establish and strengthen the relationship with the national EPI team. So going to mark a first pause here and really turn to those of you who are in the room. Let me see, March 2022. That should be 2023, of course. Thank you. For the attention to detail, Annika Scott. So now, if you are the national EPI director, this process is likely to be easier. Perhaps we could hear from Annika first. Thank you for joining us. Annika, you are the EPI Director of Guyana. Would love to hear from you, first of all, how you're doing. And second, what advice could you offer to national EPI staff who are not sure how to go about this, how to present and explain why this is so important to them, why they're committed to the movement and believe it benefits and is already integrated into the work of the government. Annika, welcome to you. Oh, at least Charlotte, are you able to hear Annika Scott?
No, Reda, but I see her mic is open.
Yeah. All right, Annika, if you can connect back to the to your audio, check your microphone, and then, oh, Annika Scott, are you there? All right, we'll come back to you, Annika, and in the meantime, we'll go to, let's see, yeah, let me see, let's go to Fanny Ogwu. Fanny, we know your commitment and dedication in the movement for IA2030. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Remind us which country you're from, and what do you think of this initiative this time? All right, Fanny, are you able to speak to us? All right, she did unmute. Okay, let's.
So Annika says she's trying to reconnect.
Okay,
So,
yeah, sure. Right. Let's go to Surya Prakash Mishra from Australia. Surya Prakash, please go ahead. I'm not sure what time it is. To start by telling us what time it is where you are, and then tell us what you think of this in your context. What do you think? Do you, first of all, remind us if you work in national EPI or elsewhere, and what do you think of this this approach, this initiative? Okay, there's got to be a Zoom bug here, right? Because that's a third person who hasn't been able to speak. Yeah. All right. Any others? And this sometimes this happens, but it's really rare that we get three people in a row who are not able to speak. All right, Melese. Let's see if the same thing happens to Melese. Melese.
Monica can speak now, she said.
Reda, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so I think everyone is working now. Okay, so let's go back in the order we set. So let's start with Annika Scott. I hope you heard at least the questions.
I heard everything. Good morning, Rada.
Right.
Good morning, Charlotte. It's been a minute. Good morning, colleagues around the world. I'm actually in Miami. Oh, it's 8, a little after 8 in Miami. We do have an EPI manager meeting with the SARI net. So we do have other managers of the Caribbean in Miami. Today's the last day of our meeting, and actually missing one meeting to be in this one because I've missed a bunch of platforms that we've had recently. But it's good to be here. And concerning your question, I think that across the Caribbean, I was just speaking to the manager of St. Lucia, Tekla, about a month ago, and apart from what we have in the Latin American and Caribbean network, which is very strong communicative ties, and we're able to share our experiences across those platforms. A wider reach is always ambitious. It allows for learning, it allows for adaptive practices, it allows for teaching, and that's exactly what our community has been able to do. For the advice for those in country, anything associated with the Geneva Learning Foundation and the World Health Organization will be met with open arms from those in managerial positions, because we understand that knowledge base for us to tap into. So they have expressing some of the areas of collaboration that they'd like to work on, then they can put that in letter format, send it to their EPI manager, and in some cases, there's like a family health manager, depending on the Caribbean country or some Latin American country, and work together as a group. What you'll find is that many of the people on the ground interest, but not many of them are actually willing to take the lead. So you do need to identify team leaders. In my case, it's a little bit easy that everybody signs on, but still challenging that you don't get people to individually act upon their own and join the movement. Every IA days when you're meeting as a group, like your EPI managers meeting, or you have planning a work plan meeting, they want to say, okay, put this forward, send this forward. But I think because of the level of staff on the ground, you may not always have that forthcoming. So what we do need to do is scout out team leaders that are up to the task. A lot of the times when we meet, depending on which part of the world, it's exactly the godly hour in Guyana. Yep. And people sacrifice too. And I have to tell you, for me, what has been challenging is that I see the invitations coming in. Sometimes log on, I get an email saying, did you miss it? Are you not in the room? And I'm a bit befuddled. I'm usually confused as, okay, am I supposed to be in another meeting? Is this the right channel? You have to maneuver that while you're doing many of your program activities. For people who are at the directorship level like I am, it's easy to do because you can delegate. But for people who are not, seeking those permissions may be a bit difficult. And if we could maneuver around how we accommodate the different levels, then that would be helpful. If I'm...
Oh, Annika, we just lost you again. But those are very, 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 very important points.
Did you follow me, Reda?
Yeah, we lost you for about 10 seconds, but please conclude.
Right. So wrapping up, I think that if we follow the same scheme of things, which is identifying a project that we'd like to do, probably something along the quality improvement line, we expand on it in our own little facet, whether it be at a subnational level or a subdistrict level, then I think the support will be had from the national level if I'm orienting right, because that's what I understand. Right?
Yep. And so, Annika, can we count? Can we say that by Teach to Reach, as you can see, the first partnerships will be announced on March the 3rd, 2023. Will Guyana EPI be amongst them? Oh, did we just lose Annika? No.
Yeah, it seems like we lost her, Reda.
No, she's there.
No. I'm here. It wasn't allowing me to unmute. Guyana will definitely be on board. No doubt about that.
All right.
Happily.
Duly noted. Yep. All right. Let's hear from Surya Prakash Mishra. And I realized there were other folks, so please write your comments in the chat because we have the other agenda items to move on. But I hope this gives you a good sense of what we want to do to strengthen the engagement with National EPI. Surya Prakash, remind us where you work, and then what are your thoughts on this on these next steps?
Thank you, Reda. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. I used to work with the New Zealand Ministry of Health as a senior epidemiologist, but currently I am not working at the national level, but I am here in Melbourne, Australia. I do not have much of the connections here, so just finding a little bit difficult to make the connections. And I also had a chat with a couple of UNICEF, not colleagues, but they were looking for an opportunity where the developing countries or countries, those they don't have enough resources, they would like to have electronic immunization register to be established. So I'm trying to engage in many different ways, but as a New Zealand, I got connections. I'm happy to go there and do the work and engage the staff. But as of Australia is concerned, like it's a bit difficult for me because I'm not national level.
So
that's
just to be clear, Surya Prakash, you're not the this is for people who do work at the national level in government in the immunization
correct.
program.
Correct.
Yeah.
I used to work at in my previous roles, but currently I'm not. Currently I'm just an immunization consultant. So I'm pretty much willingness to support anyone, whoever it is there in Australia, in New Zealand. But in Australia, I do not have that connection where I can try to. Otherwise, I would have had a very good team here to support the immunization program.
Yep. Thank you, Surya Prakash. Your commitment and engagement as a leader in the movement is well known to us and to your peers. And your support, the support of all, is appreciated. For national EPI staff, we actually encourage you to involve scholars from other levels of the health system who are also fellow movement members, if you are engaged in the movement, when it makes sense to do so. So, what would be confusing for an EPI manager is to suddenly start receiving multiple requests asking for all kinds of things that may not be immediately clear. So that closes this point. I don't see any other hands raised. We have muted the microphones, so please, if you want to speak, please raise your hand. If we don't have time, you can still contribute by writing up your comments into the chat. So second point on the agenda, as I said, is a feedback on the IA2030 Knowledge to Action Hub. So this was released on the 21st of October, 1 week after Teach to Reach, which was really still at the experimental stage. The reason we have created this hub is the following. There is a lot of significant learning that has come out of the first 4 months of the movement for immunization Agenda 2030. It is grounded in your experience and expertise about what you know and how you know what works in your context. You can see here 5 examples of what we learned together. But at the same time, because there were initially 6,185 people who made that commitment, and there's now over 10,000, we have an issue, which is how do you take that much information, that many experiences, and compile them somehow so that human beings can actually use them and find the gold nugget, the needle in the haystack that they need. So as you know, from the full learning cycle at Teach to Reach on 14th October, we presented the 16 case studies and 3 listening and learning reports. These are already accessible via the IA2030 Movement Knowledge to Action Hub. If you haven't registered for that, I urge you to do so. This is really the most convenient way. And this is open whether or not you participated, whatever your level of participation in the movement. This is also a way of bringing people back who said, I was too busy, there's just too much going on, I didn't understand. Well, they can still access what you as movement leaders developed and really just refined together. One example, to get very concrete, is Teach to Reach 6 on the 17th of June, Capstone the Movement. And this is the Teach to Reach 6 Listening and Learning Report. And the intent of putting a report like this together is really to give you knowledge, to give you back what is yours, which is your experience and expertise, but also the experience and expertise of thousands of fellow members of the movement in order to support your daily work at the individual level, but also for those of you in the room who are national EPI to actually give you new, fresh ideas, and maybe ideas you already know, but with the specifics of the how being different, that you can use to strengthen national level work. And so we announced in October that the EPI team staff, national EPI team, but also movement leaders are going to be the first ones to gain access to slides based on the reports that interest them. The reports are quite substantial. There's a lot of experiences being shared. And so we're boiling it down to a set of short slides. And if you think about who you'd want to share this with, it could be your boss, it could be your team or the people, your colleagues, it could be partners, it could be a NITAG meeting, it could be WHO country office colleagues. But if you opt in to do this, when you get the slides, you can present them saying proudly that these slides, these insights, this learning came out of work that you have been involved in. While doing your daily work, you were also connected to a global community for Immunization Agenda 2030. And we'll have in each slide deck, we'll have slots where you can put in your name, you can put in what you learned and what you think is most relevant to your team. You'll be able to tweak. And the only thing we ask is you tell us how it goes, you tell us how many people were there, and then we'll also ask the people who were there to give us feedback to follow dissemination. And really, the point of that is to help organize inter-country exchanges between teams that have given due consideration to the same knowledge. So the next steps there is in January, we'll be inviting the same group, national EPI and movement leaders, a small group at first, and then we'll be expanding if it works in the way we intended. And it'll be a short 30-minute meeting. We'll have a presentation of the slide deck that is ready for your use, just so we can show what's in it and answer any questions. And then the presentation will be either by our team or by a movement leader who was involved in the. So, for example, the slide deck on what we learned about zero dose in the full learning cycle, that will probably be the first one we present. And then you will be able to get that slide deck, adapt it, tailor it to your needs, present it to your colleagues, use it, and then tell us how you used it. So I'll stop here. That's the plan. The point of this sequence is to get feedback from you about what you think, your reaction to the idea. First question is, is this of interest to you? Do you see how you could do this, use this, and present it to your team, to your colleagues? We'd love to hear more about that. And I'm going to start with Danilo Cunha. Danilo, are you there? Are you able to speak to us? We're going to go to Dr. Manisha Danan. Let's see, Joy Osifo. Yes, Danilo, are you there? Are you able to speak to us? Oh, maybe not. I just unmuted your microphone. Okay, and I see there's actually a hand raised. Of course, that's the best way. Let me go to Green Sadru. Yes. Green, are you there? You've got your hand raised.
Yes. Yes, Rada.
All right.
Yes, I'm here.
What is your feedback on the proposal? Would you take, say, the slide deck on zero dose insights from the full learning cycle? And if so, who would you present it to? What would you do with it? And
yeah,
please
sure.
Where you work and what you do first.
Yes, I work with the immunization and the vaccine development in Tanzania, and I'm part and parcel of the immunization technical working group. And so I'm always in touch, supporting the program in our country. So this has been a great movement because so far we have been praying around to see how best we address zero dose issues. And I have worked with this, and just 2 days ago, we have been doing a measles risk analysis, and zero dose has been put in front to see how best this is included in those analyses. So I find like these slides could be a great area that we can share with others to present some facts on what is going on with zero dose, plus other risks that we are seeing on the way. So it's a great opportunity, and ready always to provide my experiences and share with my fellows in my country, also globally. And these appreciations are actually happening and confirming and characterizing the way we are doing things. And really, I'm ready and very excited to have this, to be a member of this team to start with. And I'm always happy and be ready to support others so that they also come change agents in the immunization movement, especially for the movement we have towards the Immunization Agenda 2030. Thank you, Reda.
Thank you, Green. And let me ask you a quick question. Who would you, yeah, I see you muted already, but who would you present this to? Who would you?
Yeah, it is the technical working group first, because we are now moving with several analysis to see where to support in terms of the areas that have more risks. So the technical working group will do the first, but also within our partner meetings that we are having normally.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Yes.
All right, I see Danilo Cunha. Danilo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yes. So same question for you. The slide deck that summarizes what we learned in the full learning cycle about reaching zero-dose children and under-immunized communities. Would you want that slide deck, and what would you do with it?
With this slide, I will share with my colleagues in the national immunization and the coordination of pool health in our country to try to explain the importance of this kind of slides. For our country, it's very important to have that. I'm working in Ministry on the health and the immunization team of national. Sometimes it's very difficult to have time to be in all meetings and be in this meeting because, well, few people in the too many work to do. But it's very important to us to have this information and try to share and try to have more governments or more people on my team of immunization to participation.
Okay, thank you, Danilo. Remind us which country?
Angola, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. All right. Annika, do you have a quick comment or follow-up specifically on the slides? And then we'll go to Melese.
Hello,
Yes,
Rhoda.
Annika
Hello.
first, and then we'll go to Melese.
Yes, Red. One of the things that the movement did for Guyana during our situation analysis is allow us to come together in regional teams, ice money, via Zoom for educational sessions, just as we said we would do when we presented that situation analysis. So the slide deck would, of course, be helpful because it saves us from actually put together that information on that scientific academic exchange platform within the different administrative sub-districts in Guyana, and it's going to be used as an educational tool for teaching and for the presentations.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm conscious of the time. We'll come back to this point, but unfortunately, I see other hands raised. Matthew, Melese, apologies, especially Melese, who wasn't successful the first time because of a microphone issue, no doubt. We're going to move on to the third point, and this is about becoming a contributor to the movement. So you are already a member. This is sort of kind of the next stage, recognizing that what you are sharing, the experiences you are sharing, what you are documenting about your progress belongs to you. It is logical that then we invite you to become reviewers, contributors, co-authors. So I'm going to introduce Ian Jones in a minute. Some of you already know him from a workshop at Teach to Reach he did with Ian Steed. I'm going to summarize what he prepared and then turn to him with a question, asking him how he's approaching overall the inclusion of movement leaders. But first, yes, our goals is really to synthesize knowledge and insights, as you can see here, and ensure that these resources meet scientific standards of excellence, that includes peer review, and that they're actually used. So as some of you probably know, the average academic paper is read by 3 people. And so we want to combine the two. We want to be as rigorous and scientific as possible, but the key focus remains making sure that we're giving back knowledge you can use that is grounded in your experience and expertise. And we believe the two are perfectly compatible, but that is our goal. Now, Ian Jones has developed a draft report building on the work done by Charlotte Mbu, compiling and analyzing the thousands of inputs received before, during, and after Teach to Reach. So you already know about Teach to Reach. Most of you, if not all, were there. So we're talking about a large volume of experiences, not just data, but really significant experiences. And we believe this is a valuable resource. But the scale is the problem. When you have this many stories, how can you make sense of it in a way that a busy policy or a busy immunization person is actually going to be able to put to use the knowledge and find what they need? So we have established a number of channels to share and foster continuous learning and feedback. You can see that you probably know, if you don't know any of these channels, like if you don't know the double loop, let us know, because every month you receive really a short, concise summary analysis of something that jumped out at us in the data and that we share with we want to share back and give back to you. And then this is what Ian Jones has described. It's 2 steps for peer review and continuous learning. So a step pre-publication and then a step post-publication, opportunities for members of the movement as well as national EPI staff, even if you're not formally, if you haven't made the move yet to join the movement, to contribute. So Ian, warm welcome to you. My question to you is, can you just overall give us a kind of big picture sense of how you're approaching the inclusion of movement leaders in national EPI at every stage of the development of these publications, of these reports, case studies, slide decks, and so on. All right, and I think I have to ask him to unmute. Yeah.
Thanks, Reda. Yeah, I think you've described very well the thinking behind what we're trying to do. I think we have an awful lot of excellent material from the ground level, and we've Charlotte and myself have been trained to then work that into a more thematic organization that hopefully helps people to navigate that material. So we put together, for example, a listening and learning report from the last Teach to Reach 7 event, and what we're really hoping is to get input from movement members to help create the final versions of these documents. So to look at the drafts that we've put together and to see if there are any sort of obvious gaps or where the interpretation might be slightly different from those working in the field. And we hope to combine both a global perspective, so get global experts to review, but also people working in the movement, and also think if we can develop some recommendations or some of the sort of high level implications that might be taken forward by other stakeholders. So in practice, that means just taking a look at the draft documents and commenting on them, suggesting revisions, suggesting where things aren't clear, and so on, and then helping us to draft a version that will then be shared widely on the Knowledge to Action Hub, where we can disseminate that information and encourage people to share new experiences and so on, and to follow up on this idea of having the living documents. So really, it's helping us to give back, but it's trying to involve movement members in the development of the outputs and in the sort of interpretation of what we're hearing. Back to you, Reda.
Thanks, Ian. And can you tell us, how will you recognize, so beyond acknowledgement, how will you recognize and honor members of the movement, national EPI staff who take time to review either at the pre-publication stage or once a publication is available and becomes a living document?
Yeah, so what we hope to do is have within each publication there'll be a recognition or acknowledgement of those people who've acted as reviewers, and we'll these also get published on a sort of open access platform, and I think if there are sort of major contributions to the outputs, then they would also become authors on those outputs. I think people contributing to the contributing experiences will be named, but won't become authors. But certainly, I think there's a chance to become an author on one of the publications that we make available.
Thank you, Ian. And just a concrete example, this is the synthesis of 734 case studies that were developed in November, December 2020. And here on the landing page featuring this report that has been shared already 100 times just for the English version and downloaded thousands of times, you will find the full list of the authors of the case studies who developed and peer-reviewed case studies organized by country. So we will do everything we can to find better ways to recognize, acknowledge, honor the contributions that you're making, and to recognize that this is coming. This is coming from you. Nothing about this can happen without you. Nothing about this makes sense without you, and it needs to serve your needs first and foremost, even if it's also likely to be tremendously useful to global partners who'll take the time to listen and learn. All right, we have in principle 5 minutes. I'm going to ask you to either raise your hand or type your comments in the chat. We'll be going to let's start with Becky Tagbo from Nigeria, and then we haven't heard from South Asian colleague, so Raj Shankar Ghosh. And let's see, Sajad Hafiz. Please go ahead. Whoever will unmute first will get to speak first. So again, on this issue, on this idea of becoming a contributor and being recognized as such to this new knowledge that will then be shared via the IA2030 Movement Knowledge to Action Hub. Okay, Abubakar Musa, your hand is raised, so you get the priority. Please go ahead. I'm asking you to unmute. And I'm asking again, Fanny Ogu, Farouk Ado-Uba, Felix Adipare, Josephine Mutai, Joy Osifo, who's saying that she wanted to speak. So please, yes, Felix Adipare, are you there? Are you able to speak to us?
Yes, please, Rida. I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, Felix. Remind us what country, where you work, what you do, and then tell us, will you become a contributor to, you probably already are, but will you become a contributor in this new phase where we'll be recognizing and acknowledging and honoring contributions that are made by members, by leaders of the movement?
Yes, so I'm Felix Adipare, as you said. I'm the District Director for Health, Ghana Central Region, Guma East. And yes, of course, I would like to become a contributor. I've been committed to this movement right from the start, and we would all finish together. And so I acknowledge and stay committed to the cause, and I will do my best to ensure that we reach our goal together as a movement. Thank you very much, Rida. Over.
All right, thank you, Felix. Joyce Moriti, would love to hear from you, and then we'll go to Raj Shankar Ghosh.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're joining from. My name is Joyce Moreti. I'm joining from Maryland, USA. I'm an immunization advisor and an important member of Immunization Agenda 2030. Yes, I would like to be involved, and I've been involved in contributing to the movement. And I would love to be engaged under all circumstances as a reviewer, contributor, or co-author. My work is supporting immunization professionals from different regions globally in East Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Today I'm here under my own personal, so I'm not representing my place of work, but I work for USAID. Thank you, and over to you. So I would love to connect. I have grown in this movement, and I want to take this opportunity to say that you're the professionals that have made a great difference in immunization. And I can't emphasize how much the Geneva Learning Foundation has made a great difference in combating the COVID-19 pandemic. So even with the 0 dose, we are counting of members of the movement to engage everyone from all levels of the nations where you serve to bring immunization to a higher level in the next 10 years and beyond. And 0 dose is not going to be a challenge. We have come along with the last 2 years, and you're the people that are going to make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Joyce, for this already a contribution. Now I see several, 2 hands raised right now, but for the sake of time, let me remind you what's going to happen right after this. We're going to close in about a minute. Maybe we'll extend by a few minutes to hear from Abu Bakr and Dr. Iwat. We are then going to shift. This has been a private meeting by invitation only. You are also invited to stay on because we're going to do what we call Insights Live. Insights Live will be asking you what you learned from Teach to Reach 7. So very concrete questions. I'm going to paste them in here so you can start thinking about them before we actually kick off. But to close this consultative engagement, so here are the questions we'll be asking you 63 days after Teach to Reach Connect 7. We shared the slides with you, so some of you may have had time to go over the many different stories. Final point is about the IA2030 Movement 2023 Phase 2 launch. So we'll be transitioning from what we've called the full learning cycle, which was this 4-month series of activities that were sequential, but that many people joined at various points. And we'll be shifting to the continuous learning cycle that will start around mid-January, but then formally launch on the 3rd of March at Teach to Reach 8. So that will be the big, the sort of special event we'll do at Teach to Reach 8. And of course, for those of you who are movement leaders who are working on your implementing corrective actions to tackle the root cause of your challenge, we'll be looking to you starting in mid-January to tell us how that is going, how implementation is going, and what support you need, what breakthroughs have you made, what challenges have you encountered. But that will be the second phase. We'll start with the 9,000 people who haven't yet mapped out corrective actions, but we'll also be calling on you to again present to your colleagues. And this time, in year 2, you will have tangible outputs. These reports, case studies, slide decks, stories of what difference it makes to be a part of this movement. And we hope that will be helpful to convincing and figuring out how to make it work for your colleagues, as Annika, Scott, and others pointed out. So we're at the 46-minute mark. If you need to go because of your daily duties and you do not want to participate in Insights Live, that is fine. I believe we may try to hear from Abu Bakr Musa. Let me see. He's had a hand raised for a long time. Otherwise, we will shift to the countdown for the for Insights Live and get ready to go to go live on all social media channels. Abu Bakr Musa, would love to hear from you on any of the 4 agenda items. So really, what's on your mind, and remind us where you are and what you do.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abu Bakr Musa from Bauchi State, Nigeria, and I'm working under primary health level as volunteer. So the challenge I want to share is that in my country, the EPI teams, immediately they receive any training or something that is new, so they don't want to step it down to the lower level on time. So I would like to call the attention of my EPI team, national EPI team, to take a major action against such kind of things, because we that we are working as a lower level, we do not have any update on time. We don't get any update on time unless the thing will be late. And I'm always going to the community in order to enlighten them anything related to routine immunization as to boost the immunity of our younger generation. And then also, apart from that, the COVID-19 issues in my area. In a rural area, we still have a problem of receiving that COVID-19 vaccination. So even though we are always trying to engage in some activities, either community sensitization, mobilization, and awareness to the people, more especially that are living in a rural area. So all such kind of things, we have this kind of problem in northern part of the country, that is Nigeria. So we would like to tell attention of NGOs, government bodies, and other stakeholders to consider this kind of issue, because in our in the northern part of Nigeria, we have a problem of lack of healthcare professional. 70% of the healthcare professionals that are rendering services that particular
Abubakar, I
area
apologize. Please conclude if you'd like to write to share more in the chat, and I hope you'll stay for Insights Live where we can come back to some of the issues you've addressed. Maybe one final word quickly from Burema. Burema, warm welcome to you. What's on your mind? If you have a thought that can be summarized in 1 or 2 sentences, we have time for that. But that's it.
Okay, thank you, Reda. Thank you, everyone. I'm Burema Kabore. I'm from Burkina Faso, but now I am in Paris, in Senegal. I'm on mission here. Okay, what I need to share is that our challenge in Burkina Faso is related to security issues, and due to that, there are many health facilities locked down, and we scholars from Burkina Faso, we are organized and we are preparing to meet the Ministry of Health to share what we have learned with the Geneva Learning Foundation and how we can contribute to deal with issues, to contribute to reduce the zero dose and people not sufficiently vaccinated. That is what I want to share. Okay. And I think that this opportunity will help us with ideas and how we can improve our strategies and innovate for impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, we the way we concluded with the Francophones, I would like to do the following, is to turn to Charlotte, who of course has been listening to you and has been with the movement members since the beginning. Charlotte, what did you hear today? What final insights to close out really this year? This is the last time we'll meet with movement members and with National EPI. What are your thoughts as the year comes to an end?
Thank you very much, Reda. And first of all, I want to thank all the movement members and all the national EPI staff that were able to join us today, even some EPI managers that were able to join and also contributions in the chat that were so great. That's the engagement that we see in the room, the buy-in, and all of the people that really want to take forward the agenda for the movement IA2030. So I just want to say that one thing that will make the national EPI to recognize the work that we are doing is if you get the lessons that we have learned through the programs to use them in our day-to-day work to make a difference. Once they start seeing that indicators are changing positively, they will come to ask us why. What are you doing in your health district? What are you doing in your region? What are you doing in your health facility to reach the zero dose children, to change the status quo? And at that time, they would begin to see that the work that we are doing as a movement, it's making a big difference. So I'm looking forward. There's much hope for 2023. And I'm looking forward to having IA2030 movement members, leaders, contributors in all of the material that we are producing, which we are not getting from anywhere but from you. You are the ones that are bringing the knowledge. We just try to transform that knowledge and give it back to you to use it to change the immunization landscape in your context. So it's really about us building together and using together. And we're also trying as much as possible to engage the global community to recognize the work that you are doing. So I hope that in 2023, we are going to take a step further as we will be launching the continuous learning cycle. So I just want to wish happy end of year to everyone and happy new year 2023 in advance. Thank you, Reda, and over.
All right, thank you, Charlotte. And so the artifice of applause and music in these in our work, I think, is far less than what we would get if we were together in a shared physical room. So this will be the final cheer and music for this year for the movement for IA2030. It's really yourselves.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much
Again,
for
in 5 minutes, we're going to be starting Insights Live. We're going to be asking you the questions that I shared in the chat 63 days after.
Thank you very much, Reda.
What has changed for you? But first, for those of you who have to go, my warmest greetings for those of you who are celebrating in the coming 2 weeks, and Happy New Year for everyone.
Happy New Year too.
Happy New Year.
Same to
Happy
you.
New Year.
All right, and we're going to queue up. You're going to see Insights Live coming up. We're going to be shifting gears, as you can see, and setting up the countdown. We are just a few minutes away from getting started with that. And we'll be going for 30 minutes. We know how busy you are. This is why we're going to keep Insights Live down to 30 minutes. So if you are able to stay, please get ready to answer the questions I'm pasting in the chats, and I'm going to show in a second. These are the questions we'll be asking you. I'm now going to mute everyone again. Go. So if the first volunteer who'd like to take on these questions could raise their hand. That way when we start, you'll see there's a very short sequence of maybe one slide or two slides, and then we will turn to you, movement leaders, okay, Ms. Melese, let's check that your microphone is now working. I'm asking you to unmute.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Rhoda?
Yes, please maybe come closer to your microphone, and then do you have the questions in front of you?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is Melese Shambo from Ethiopia.
So we're
I'm
not
working
starting
at
yet.
Sawa.
I'm just checking that everything is working, so that when I turn to you, we don't lose any time before getting it to work. All right. And then, of course, the rules of with respect to public speaking in the movement apply. So, Melese, after you have spoken, it will be a woman from another country who will speak. So could we have a volunteer who is a woman, not from the same country as Melese? Charlotte, we'd love your suggestions here. Oh, Charlotte?
Yes, I'm here, Reda. I'm just going through the
Okay.
list of participants in the room.
All right, we're starting the live now. Warm welcome to you from Geneva, Switzerland, and Ebolova, Cameroon. I'm here with Charlotte and Boo, and we're getting ready to kick off the 6th edition of Insights Live, in which we take stock and make sense of what we're learning in the Movement for Immunization Agenda 2030. So we'll be coming together in just 2 minutes and 7 seconds. We have in our Zoom studio, we have leaders of the Movement for Immunization Agenda 2030 who come from over 99 countries, who work at all levels of the system. Some work in facilities, some work at the district level, in regions or states, and then some work in the national planning teams. And you'll be hearing a different kind of global conversation that involves people from everywhere, sharing and learning from each other through what we call Teach to Reach, and we'll be explaining what that is. We'll be coming together in 1 minute 30 seconds. Teach to Reach Connect is the regular event organized by the Geneva Learning Foundation for the Movement for Immunization Agenda 2030 to support local practitioners to connect with each other, to learn from each other, figure out what works, why, and how. And this will be, you'll be hearing in today's Insights Live, you'll be hearing about Teach to Reach 7, not 5, and what are a few of the things that we are learning and how practitioners, participants in Teach to Reach are putting that learning to use. So that's in 56 seconds. We're 25 seconds away from getting started with Insights Live number 6. This is a global conversation of a new and different kind in which local practitioners from all over the world share what we're learning from Teach to Reach, a regular event in which people from all over the world share what works, why, and how. Here we go. And a warm welcome from Geneva, Switzerland, and from Evolova, Cameroon. I'm here with Charlotte and Boo, and this is Insights Live. We'll be today reviewing what works, why, and how, what we're learning from Teach to Reach Connect 7. Teach to Reach is the regular event hosted by the Geneva Learning Foundation for the movement for Immunization Agenda 2030 to achieve the world's immunization goals. Every few months we come together for Teach to Reach and spend time networking, learning from each other. Today, you're going to hear what exactly we're learning and what difference it is making. So we're going to kick off. I'm going to turn to Charlotte. We are 63 days after Teach to Reach Connect 7. Charlotte, who shall be the first person that we hear from about what they learned at Teach to Reach 7?
Thank you, Reda, and hi, everyone. I see Melissa is no more in the room, so I'm going to be inviting Becky Tagbo. I don't know if you're able to unmute yourself. I'm inviting you to unmute to tell us what you learned from Teach to Reach Connect 7. If not, we can also invite Adeyemo Sunday Charles. Okay, Becky.
Yep.
Hello, Charlotte, Reda, and everyone. Can you hear me?
We can, but the sound is muffled. Can you speak closer to your microphone or louder? Oh, Becky, are you there? Are you able to speak to us? Okay. All right.
Can you hear me?
No, I
just heard that.
Microphone is moving up and down.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but can you be stable?
Hello?
Yes, Becky, we hear you. There may be a delay between when you hear us and when we hear you. So please, you have the questions up on the screen. We want remind us who you are, where you work, what challenge matters to you, and then what did you learn from Teach to Reach Connect 7 in respect, with respect to that challenge?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Becky Tagbo. I'm a professor of pediatrics. I work at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital. My pet challenge is COVID-19 vaccine confidence. And with respect to my challenge, I have learned great things from Geneva Learning Foundation and the various editions of Teach to Reach. And I'll just mention two big ones to me. One is that I learned that I could actually make an impact on the lives of the people regarding vaccination with zero financial support. I had always thought that every project I must look for funding somewhere, and since there is no funding, I have to wait. No. I learned here that I could actually initiate a project and completely bring it to a successful end without any support and with very minimal cost indeed. And secondly, I also learned that I could also initiate a project and get my boss involved and get my colleagues involved without waiting for my boss to initiate the project. And then what I have done differently is that I had to, put what I have learned into practice, just what I have said. I had to initiate a vaccine confidence project in my place of work, and it really worked. And I had to move the percentage of those who are taking the vaccine from less than 30 to above 70 within a week, for that matter. So it was, and then now is impacting their families. They have become advocates based on all the steps that we took, the activities that I undertook. Now many more people are getting vaccinated. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Professor Bakitagbo. That's a very impressive story. Can you think, from Teach to Reach 7, the one in October, can you think of a specific, something you heard, a conversation you had during the networking that, you know, that helped you in some small but significant way?
Okay. I hope I'm still on.
Yes, you are.
I spoke with, it's like I've forgotten his name now. I spoke with, during the networking, I spoke with somebody, I think from Kenya, and he shared a lot of insights on how they are addressing COVID-19 confidence issues among the people, and especially health workers, because my area of focus is on health workers. And it is part of what I learned from him as well, that I implemented. That was one major thing. And we have remained, we started communicating even after the network. We had to get our WhatsApp numbers, and then we've been communicating and, you know, inviting ourselves to other programs. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Professor Bakitagbo. Now, what we're seeing with Teach to Reach is growing participation. There are more of you every time, and you bring your colleagues, you bring your boss, you bring your teams. So in June 2022, we broke through the barrier of 12,000 participants for the June edition. And this time, we reached the incredible number, 14,134 health professionals registered for Teach to Reach 7. Now, you might say, so what? Well, 1,240 of you engaged in networking sessions. The kinds of meetings that Professor Bakitagbo just described leads to actual change, leads to new practices, new insights. And of those, 1,025 shared detailed qualitative feedback about what you learned during the event. That's what Teach to Reach is about. Now, for those of you who have poor connectivity, you might be struggling to watch this stream. We do have a podcast. It's an audio-only format, and I'm pleased to announce that we now have a specific podcast dedicated to insights, because today is Insights Live number 6, where we really focus on, just as you heard Professor Bakitagbo share, what we're learning from what you know that no one else can know, because they are not there every day and you are, creating spaces of possibility to share your experience. As part of that, we launched on the 21st of October the IA2030 Movement's Knowledge to Action Hub. This is a one-stop shop. You share your details and you'll get access to all of the latest documents, insights, knowledge that can help you in your daily work, even if you missed out on Teach to Reach or on other movement activities. And in fact, the Teach to Reach 6 report, analyzing and summarizing what we learned from Teach to Reach 6, is already available, and the Teach to Reach 7 report is in preparation. Now, coming back to what happened at Teach to Reach 7, we began, remember, with an opening ceremony in which the collective of women who deliver vaccines opened Teach to Reach and shared their experiences, their specific experiences and perspectives on building back better during the pandemic as women. And we also called on and heard many stories from men who work in immunization and who shared how they are, what concrete actions they're taking to share their solidarity with women. At the main plenary, in partnership with UNICEF, we explored the consequences of pandemic, known to be fueling the largest continued backslide in vaccinations in 3 decades. And then UNICEF focused on interpersonal communication. We followed then by asking 3 key questions. What has changed about how you speak with caregivers and the community? We asked you to share a practice that helped you restore or strengthen your immunization service. So what you actually did that made a difference. And then we asked you to think about the root cause of your challenge. That's what Teach to Reach is about. You then chose what to speak about. You were free, of course, to just enjoy meeting colleagues from all over the world, but that's in a nutshell what Teach to Reach is about, that particular one. For Teach to Reach 8, we'll have a new set of questions and we'll be asking you what's important to you. What should we be asking at this stage? So now I'm going back to Charlotte because we have the 5 questions up on your screen and we're eager to hear what you learned from Teach to Reach 7 and how you've used that learning to actually take action and make a difference. Charlotte?
So I'm just inviting you to raise your hand if you want to share with us, but in the rules of fairness, we'd rather have a man speak to us from a country other than Nigeria. So if you're able to, please go ahead and raise your hand, or I could just invite
it's difficult, isn't it? There's so many people in the studio, and we know we'd love to hear. Do raise your hand if you'd like to answer the questions that are up on the screen and in the chat. Share what you learned from Teach to Reach 7, as well as how you're using that to make a difference. So I'm asking a number of you to to unmute as well. Let's go to all right. Let's go to Tina. Surya Prakash, Sajad Hafiz. And we'll see who unmutes first. It's funny. There must be a bug with Zoom because usually it doesn't. Yes, it doesn't take that long. Let's say. All right, Samuel. Samuel, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, and greetings to all members of this August community. I must say I'm very delighted today to speak. I'm Samuel Malugai. I'm speaking from Ghana. I work as a research officer at the Regional Health Directorate. It's a sub-national level in Ghana. Well, as with the beginning of this COVID pandemic, I think I've been a member of this movement, and it's been very helpful to me. It has really helped me a lot to take decisions, and also learning from colleagues what they are doing elsewhere, and also trying to implement them. As we've been moving in the field, what we observe at the earlier stage has been vaccine hesitancy, and then with the collective ideas from the movement, it has helped us to at least reduce the fears that people had about the COVID-19 vaccines, where some people were of the view that perhaps it's a way of harming them or some other ways.
Samuel, let me ask you specifically, can you think of a specific example, a story you heard at Teach to Reach, or something you learned by listening to someone sharing their experience that then you were able to take back to where your daily work in Ghana to help you reach more people with COVID-19 vaccine? Can you think of a situation or something like that?
Okay, yeah. What I realized is that somebody did say something that they were using this Kobo Collect as a way of trying to understand how people are having challenges, and then also trying to understand the hesitancy among health staff. And I thought it to be a very good thing that could be deployed. So part of it, we also decided to also adapt it as practically to guide our operational daily decisions and then the work that we do. Because although we say we are working, there should be something to back what we do. It should be transparent to all other people that are available that maybe want to see what we are actually doing. So we decided to use it as a region to guide our day-to-day operations. And I think it's been very helpful to us as a region.
Great, thank you, Samuel Badiakang from Ghana. So now, Charlotte, the rules for speaking in the movement for IA 2030. I see Margaret Odera, who even has her webcam turned on, and not many people can do that. So Margaret, I'm going to have to ask you to unmute, and would love to hear from you. Are you able to speak to us?
Yes, I am very much glad to be here. My name is Margaret Odera. I am a community health worker from Nairobi, Kenya. As you can see right now, we are from the field. We are doing a measles vaccination campaign, and we have just finished in the evening. And the one thing I have come to learn with this foundation is that there is no, to prevent vaccine hesitancy, you will have to sensitize first. When you have sensitization, you'll have no vaccine hesitancy. And it has really worked in Kenya with the COVID-19 vaccinations and with the measles vaccination that you're doing right now. The children, the parents are bringing their children in large numbers. Okay, I knew about Geneva Learning Foundation last year in October. And in the process, I had to mobilize a few community health workers, and I decided to have a WhatsApp group. And in the process of forming a WhatsApp group, we had community health workers with a lot of challenges. And the WhatsApp group has grown from 5 people to 905 people spread across 4 counties. And in the process, we are also forming a national association. And I have come to find the benefit of networking with community health workers in Kenya. So I have seen, according to the work plan that you wanted me to do, I did the work plan, and it really gave me direction on what to do. Yeah. So a lot of people are coming on board, a lot of children. We have gotten a lot of children today for the measles vaccination. There have not been vaccine hesitancy because as community health workers, we were in the ground mobilizing. So I have come to learn from the Geneva Learning Foundation that sensitization and mobilization prevents vaccine hesitancy. And I've also come to learn that networking with other community health workers will make the job easier. And I've really, this is a very big advantage for me. I have already told my groups about the Geneva Learning Foundation, and they're interested to join in the coming years. Yes, so I'm really grateful for this foundation. It has really been educative and informative forum, and I'm willing to continue learning because I'm still learning. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Margaret Odera. Wonderful. Then here we go, responding to 5 questions as part of the movement for immunization Agenda 2030. If you don't know what that is, and you just listened to Margaret and you're saying, maybe I should look into it, go to this website, learning.foundation, look for Immunization Agenda 2030. Now, you've heard only a few people speak, and we have, from the Insights Unit, I'm going to give you a quick peek of what this actually looks like, over 500 stories that have been pulled out of 1,600 stories shared at Teach to Reach 7. And you can see here, let me bring it up, let me spotlight it. I'm gonna go, here. I'm gonna go through this at lightning speed. It may not even, it may be too fast to even update, but just to acknowledge all of the movement members who shared their stories on many, many different topics. This is slide, now up to slide 60. and there are over 500 stories being shared. We're now compiling, our Insights unit is now compiling and preparing a more synthetic report, and ultimately we'll boil it down to a set of short slides with the key takeaways and lessons learned. I'm going to stop here and now turn to our guides on the side. Together with us in the room, we have Alan Brooks from Bridges to Development, Svea Closer from IVAC, the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, and Jenny Sequeira, a global health consultant who's working with the Geneva Learning Foundation. So I'd like to start with Svea, who's joining Insights Live for the first time. Svea, you've been listening, and I hope learning as well. What are your thoughts? Could you first briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit, what did you hear in this conversation so far, and what can we learn from the experiences being shared here?
Hi, everyone. My name is Svea Closer. I'm a professor at the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, and I'm just so inspired by listening to what you all are saying. And I know that community health workers know the most about what needs to happen to improve vaccination rates. And it's so wonderful to see all of you sharing that knowledge and to have a place to share and have a voice. So I'm just so inspired by listening.
Svea, I have a question for you. So first of all, did you know that there were 10,000, more than 10,000 now, health professionals from 99 countries connecting to each other in this way, learning from each other? And second, what difference do you think it can make? So what?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that there were this many. That's really exciting to see. And then in terms of what difference it can make, well, again, all the solutions to any problems that we face in terms of vaccination coverage exist. Community health workers know how to solve these problems. So if all of you can share those answers with each other, that's the answer. None of the experts, quote unquote, have any solutions that ours are worse than the solutions that community health workers come up with, because you know the context, you know what works. And so I'm so excited to learn from this group.
Thank you, Svea Closer. We now go to Alan Brooks. Now, Alan, you looked through the slides, a huge number of them, and pulled out. Really, you told us this is the one I'd like to comment and bring to everyone's attention. This is from Reverend Flora Obia Egwu from Nigeria, who works at the district level. And she says, what changed is my methodology and strategy, because people were not buying into immunization talks because of my criticisms, condemnation of, and judgment of their age-long way of life. What struck you about this story and why? And please do introduce Bridges to Development, a key partner for the Geneva Learning Foundation, and yourself before you go into what got your attention here.
Absolutely. So Retta, first of all, hello everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to chime in. Bridges to Development is a partner to TGLF, and we also serve among our other roles as the Secretariat for the Immunization Agenda 2030 within the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and with the other partners. We're a small nonprofit organization based in Geneva and in the US. I'm a nurse by background, and what struck me in reading this story was the reflection and the learning about that the Reverend went through about the way her actions were impacting those that she was working with. When I was working as a nurse day in, day out, I was stressed, I was busy, I was always being asked for things, and that made it harder to slow down enough to listen, to hear, to, dare I say, empathize with the people that were in front of me, seeking help, seeking my care, looking to me as a professional. And the way then that I would have interacted in those situations, I realized actually in reading hers, I actually may have negatively impacted some of the patients I was working with. And just as the Reverend actually went through a process of realizing some of the things that she was doing actually were having a negative impact. And she realized that, recognized that, and actually started to see the benefits from changing some of those more negative approaches to a more empathetic, a more understanding tone. And particularly, I like that she sees this isn't just about immunization. This is about how people provide proper healthcare services, how they work also in other sectors. And she particularly works with female genital mutilation. And so having that kind of cross-sharing and cross-learning is just really powerful. And sure, it's coming up in the context of immunization, but in fact, it's about strengthening and improving the quality and the experience of healthcare services for those that we're serving. So congratulations to her and congratulations to the whole group. Really impressive work that you've been doing to move immunization agenda 2030 and particularly your own individual countries' health programs forward. Thanks, Retta.
Thank you, Alan Brooks from Bridges to Development. And then our third guide on the side today is Jenny Sequeira. Jenny, would love to hear your reflections on the discussion today, and also the experience, what seems to be coming out of Teach to Reach.
Thank you. It's really inspiring to hear all of these stories and to read about them as well. I think what inspires me the most when I hear the feedback directly from people is that they're unpacking some of these generic things that you hear about, like vaccine hesitancy. We heard somebody really talking through what does it really mean in their community, and I think we heard something around it wasn't, what people assumed, what health workers assumed was vaccine hesitancy ended up being something more related to vaccine supply. And when the supply came and the health services were available, you saw a difference and a change in how people came to seek the services. So I think what we really want to understand is, when you're on the ground and when you see these issues and when you see the problems, something that may be a generic term that people say ends up being something different. And so you learn from when people are really seeing the reality on the ground. So it's just great to hear so many different voices and to see so many people joining together. So I wanted to echo Svea and Alan's thanks for just hearing all of these rich experiences and for your willingness to share these with others. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Jenny. And then we have one more person we're going to hear from the TGLF team, and that's really so this is Ian Jones. Let me make sure that Ian is in fact here. Yes. So Ian Jones is leading a lot of the research that our Insights unit is doing. Warm welcome to you, Ian. You also you read literally every story that came in from Teach to Reach 7. So we'd like to hear from you. What patterns or trends do you see across the Teach to Reach sessions that you've analyzed, alongside everything else you've been looking at coming out of the movement for Immunization Agenda 2030?
Thanks very much, Reda. So I guess I've been involved with TGLF for about just over a year now, and worked on a number of events and looked at a number of a very large number of the experiences being shared, and I have to say each and every one is completely fascinating and give incredibly rich insights into what's going on in the field. And I think over time there are clearly a number of themes that are emerging, and I think a very key one is the importance of community engagement, but I think also it's that there's as Jenny just indicated, I mean, the term community engagement is very broad. There's a million different aspects to community engagement, and I think what the stories do is really begin to give examples of just the many different ways in which community engagement could be done, and really it would be almost impossible, I think, to capture those in any other kind of resource. But by enabling people to connect and to share these experiences, I think the TGLF platform is giving something that really isn't available anywhere else. I think there's a couple of other themes that have come out for me quite strongly. I think the importance of microplanning. I mean, there's really no alternative but to have very, very good plans, but often, again, developed with the community, in partnership with the community. I think what's also become clear is the emphasis scholars are placing on on teamwork, and I think a recognition that nobody works alone really, and actually solving problems is that much easier when it's done collectively. And I think that's perhaps something for us to think about, how we can sort of encourage and nurture and facilitate team working, because I think people are recognizing the importance of that. A couple of other quick things. I think again, I think this has probably been mentioned, but I think it's really striking the adaptability and the resourcefulness that people are showing. And the example we had of being able to do things without spending money by being ingenious, by being resourceful, by being creative, I think is a really a really strong theme of what's been shared. And I think overall, just the remarkable enthusiasm that people have for learning, for finding out new things, this constant thirst for new knowledge, but also a willingness to share, really for no particular gain, I think, other than the value and the sense that they're helping other people. So again, I find it very inspiring, Reda, and over to you again.
Thank you very much indeed, Ian Steed. We're discussing Teach to Reach and all of the contributors to Teach to Reach. And in fact, we're now going to quickly, to close this edition, actually share and show you the names of all the contributors for this edition that were selected to be in the Insights slide deck. So this is many, many pages. Don't panic if you don't see your name. It's organized by country, but if you contributed, your name is indeed there. Let me just add to, here to the spotlights. And I see there is a problem here with the way this is being displayed. Let me just see if I can try to fix that. Yeah, I think this may be as good as we get it today. So here is contributors from Nigeria. You saw other countries before: Pakistan, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, Sierra Leone, Somalia, South Africa, South Sudan, Tanzania, Turkmenistan, Uganda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and then also internationals contributing. And then on the Francophone side, Benin, Botswana, shouldn't be, I guess, a Francophone from Botswana or based in Botswana, Burundi, Cameroon, Comoros, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Haiti, Lebanon, Madagascar, Mali, Morocco, Mauritania, Niger, Central African Republic, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, with a very long list of contributors, as well as Senegal, Chad, Togo. These are not in alphabetical order by country, but that's okay. And that's what we are learning from Teach to Reach 7. We're going to stop here for now. If you're left saying, how come we're ending now that the conversation is just getting started? There's a very simple reason. We respect your time. We know that every time we ask you, you tell us how busy you are. So if you'd like to know more, you can opt in and go look at the resources that you'll be receiving by email that you can find on the Geneva Learning Foundations and on the Movement's Telegram channels and so on. But that is it for us today. I'd like to ask Charlotte, as this is our last meeting of the year, Charlotte, if you'd like to say a word and send the Geneva Learning Foundation's warmest greetings for those of you who celebrate Christmas at the end of the year, and for everyone, our best wishes for the coming new year.
Yes, Reda, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for the insightful sharing. And on behalf of the Geneva Learning Foundation, on behalf of the entire Scholar family, on behalf of the Movement for Immunization Agenda 2030, I just want to wish each and everyone a tremendous end of year festivities for those who are celebrating, but also a wonderful and fruitful and productive 2023. And so looking forward to connecting with you again in January as we start with the next phase of our movement. Bye for now.
Thank you very much indeed. Now some practical information before we close down. So Teach to Reach 8. If you, whether this is your first time or your 8th time, we want to invite you. You decide if you think this is worth your time to meet, network, and learn with fellow immunization professionals from all over the world. It's very simple. You go to learning.foundation, to the Teach to Reach website, click on request your invitation, type in your name here, your email here and request your invitation. It's really that simple. We mentioned the topic of vaccine confidence and vaccine hesitancy. You can also request a copy of the report that's grounded in the viewpoints of 734 health professionals from all levels of the system. If you missed our big event on Monday, then do go to the website for the special event on universal health coverage. It is now being rerun every 4 hours. Same process. You just request your invitation and then follow the steps in what you receive by email. We mentioned the IA2030 Movement Knowledge to Action Hub. So it's as simple, again, as just share your email and then follow the steps in what you get as following that to get access to all of the resources that were mentioned today. So that is Teach to Reach Connect, and today was Insights Live, singular insights by and for the people who make global health. Thank you for coming in for this, for those of you who are in the Zoom studio, our movement leaders, and then for all those of you listening, let's keep learning together in order to better lead change. Faster and better is our goal. Take care. I'm now unmuting everyone who's in our Zoom studio, so we can actually say goodbye to each other and hear each other's voices before we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, goodbye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye from me,
Bye.
Mariama. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
All the best.
Bye. Thank you
Wishing you
very
all the
much.
best.
Thank you for the
Stella,
bye-bye.
you did wonderful.
Bye.
Okay, au revoir.
Bye.
Bye. What a wonderful cousin. And you
Hey, everybody.
a hero. All other scholars.
Bye.
Congratulations to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye from me, Mariama.
Okay, we've stopped the broadcast. Warmest wishes for those of you who celebrate Christmas, and to everyone, Happy New Year. As I said, it's been an amazing, remarkable year, and really glad to be finding this really tight-knit group of leaders and really remarkable individuals. Looking forward, as Charlotte said, to next year. Take care.
Thanks, Reda. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks,
And see you
everyone.
next
Bye.
time.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Yeah.
We are grateful. Thank you
Good
very
Christmas.
much.
Bye.
Bless
Thank
you.
you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.